Would you be the jerk for leaving a dry wedding early to go out? We'll get into that in a bit, but first, am I the jerk for letting my daughter be hungry and not ordering for her at a fast food place? My daughter is 15 and she has social anxiety. She's in counseling for it and not meds, not needed. The rule in our household is that you want fast food when we're out, you pay for it with your own money. If you don't have McDonald's money, you aren't going there. I also don't allow eating in the car, so we stop at places to eat. We had to go out and do some errands. I told her to grab something to eat beforehand, but she said she wasn't hungry. We go on our errands and halfway through she wants to stop by Wendy's. I pull in and tell her to go order, and I'll get a seat. She comes back a few minutes later and tells me she can't order. She doesn't want to talk to the cashier at the front of the store. I told her she needs to order and we'll head out. She asked me to order and I told her no. We sit for about 10 minutes when I tell her it's time to go. She, in short, is ticked, and my wife is also upset I didn't order for her, that I let her go hungry. I find this stupid. I didn't starve her for days. It was a 4-hour outing. Am I the jerk? Edit, for those asking, yes, her counselor has told us that she needs to start doing this stuff on her own. This was low risk. She literally gave the example of ordering food without our help. I also ran through a script with her at the table, but she wouldn't do it. So personally, I think especially with the added clarification that this was an example the therapist gave as far as what she needs to work on, that OP, although maybe it's a little tougher than some people would like, was not really the jerk here. I would hope that removed from the situation, OP wasn't just cold and matter-of-fact about it, but there's also an element of you have to kind of push your kids like this, or else you just stand to be enabling it further yourself, especially considering OP said that they sat there with them and worked with them on a script on what to say. Curious Suki Heim wrote, against the green here, but not the jerk. According to the edit and comments you left, your daughter needs to start doing minimal effort activities to help with her social anxiety. And this was an example of one such activity. In addition, you tried to prep your child beforehand by reminding her to eat, and she did not. Part of raising kids in a healthy manner is teaching them the consequences of their actions, in addition to preparing them for the real world. Her anxiety is manageable, but she needs to learn how to manage on her own. You cannot hold her hand her whole life, and she will not be a functioning adult unless she learns how. That process is going to be hard. There is no two ways around it. So, it would stand to reason that the first 2 times she attempts to do something different than the norm, she might fail and everyone is gonna be upset at the outcome. To me, this seems like a step forward. Change is frustrating because it's not an overnight thing. It's more akin to moving the needle. Change isn't harmful or hurtful, it's a stretch. You offered her options, offered to roleplay, and she shut that down. She's allowed to ask for your help, you're allowed to say no. You're allowed to offer help, she's allowed to say no. That's all that happened here. You and your wife need to get on board together to figure out how to handle when your daughter pushes back support she doesn't want. Work with a therapist to find tangible solutions. I see a parent who handled this reasonably. Cassiopeia wrote, completely agree with this. She's 15. Our society supports too much coddling. I know because I subscribed to some of that over the years and see some of that detriment in my own kids. In this specific scenario, he gave her a chance to work on her social anxiety, which she's already getting help with, and they were just running errands for a few hours. He wasn't starving her, not the jerk. Also, hi, I'm Steven, and if you guys enjoy getting to decide whether or not all of these people are jerks, why not hit those like and subscribe buttons down below? That said, our next story is, am I the jerk for telling my brother that he has to sack his housekeeper if he won't behave professionally with her? My 42-year-old female brother, 39-year-old male, has a live-in housekeeper, Vivian. I believe the girl is 18 or 19. In our country, and particularly our city, housekeepers are in very high demand, especially ones from the same region of our country as Vivian is, because they have the best food in the country. My brother got divorced a year ago and got very depressed, so I advised him to hire a housekeeper to help him maintain his daily tasks. She also helps him by babysitting his 2 daughters when it's his custody time when he's at work. I went grocery shopping a few weeks ago with my brother, and he picked up a box of chocolates and some flowers for Vivian. He told me that she was sick, and I thought it was very sweet of him. However, my nieces, my brother's daughters, told me that their father always hits on Vivian when she's working and he buys her expensive gifts. Then yesterday, he made an offhanded comment about her body when she was bringing some food to the table when I went to his home to have lunch with him. She laughed awkwardly and excused herself. I asked him what he was doing, and basically he's attracted to her. I told him that his behavior with her was not appropriate as he is her employer, and if he cannot behave, he should let her go. When he hired her, her agency said that there were many other families who wanted her because of resume, so she will not be left jobless. I told him that she deserves to have a workplace that is safe. He was very upset and said I was treating him like a creep and it wasn't my business. I left after this and he called me demanding an apology. I feel like I may have overstepped since he told me Vivian has not complained herself. I feel very bad now and I was wondering if I'm the jerk. So personally, I don't think OP's the jerk here. I think OP was just being a very good advocate for somebody who clearly is in a position that's not going to make just about anybody comfortable, let alone the fact that, like OP said, it is very inappropriate. It honestly makes me worried that at some point, if not already, it's going to advance from comments about their body to actually doing some haha joke physical thing. 8 Aylin Road, not the jerk. You did the right thing here. Vivian is young and might not be comfortable complaining to him. Just because she doesn't make his behavior appropriate, and since his daughters have also noticed it, it becomes even more of a situation. OP responded saying, "That was what I thought." He said that she has a voice and she'll complain if she's uncomfortable, which made me rethink myself. Our next story is, am I the jerk for refusing to apologize to our son and his wife for getting mad on Father's Day because they were a no-call, no-show after we made plans? My husband, 57-year-old male, had called our oldest son before Father's Day to tell him that he'd had a heart attack and was having a CABG on the following Wednesday. Our son, 32-year-old male, said he and his wife were out of town until Sunday morning but would be over after dropping off the sitter. They have 3 girls, ages 3, 6, and 9. I cooked that morning 2 slabbed ribs, half dozen burgers, and all side dishes so it would be ready by 2. At 4, my husband called to see what was going on. Our son was asleep, said his wife went to her father's because his plans changed and he was no longer going out of town. They would be over later after she got home. We both got mad and said he should have at least called, and why did her father's plans supersede ours? She could have dropped off our son here before going over there. There are a lot of details I'm leaving out for space purposes. At present, they aren't speaking to us until my husband apologizes to her and her father. My husband hasn't liked her or her father since they got married for just these types of instances. My husband said, "Don't bother coming over." He just wanted to see him before the surgery, just in case. Our youngest son was flying in from the Navy base in San Diego that same day. Our daughter-in-law started texting ugly messages to my husband about how he hurt their feelings, and she had a right to see her father, only worse language. My husband had been told to take it easy and not do anything that might cause another heart attack before surgery. He told her several times to stop because his chest had been hurting. She said a CABG was a routine surgery and there was no reason for him to be so scared about it. My husband also has other health issues. Our son did come to the hospital until the surgery was over, then handed me a letter for my husband to read after the discharge. It basically said that they wouldn't speak to us again until my husband apologized. Just for context, my husband, oldest son, and daughter-in-law are all 3 very dominant personalities. Me and our youngest son are more peacekeepers, but I said no apologies because they were wrong, not us. Are we the jerks, or are they? Edit details. Husband was diagnosed bipolar about 25 years ago. When he's triggered, his lows cause temper flares. Both sons know this, and we've all learned how to even him back out again. Our oldest son and his wife are exactly like him without the bipolar. They can and have all said ugly things in the past. Since we moved home 2 years ago, my husband has made every effort to keep the peace. In the past, her father has said and done things that we were appalled by. Said he would aim for small animals on the road to hear them pop. Her parents followed them to Colorado when they moved for a while. When we went to visit, he, the father-in-law, wanted us to put our dog to sleep because his and ours didn't get along. This past Christmas, we were all at our son's. If we had known the father-in-law would be there, we wouldn't have gone. The father-in-law told my husband that if he said anything else about his daughter, he would beat the brakes off your butt. My husband said something along the lines of, "Let's go outside." But we left instead of starting anything. Our son put him through an oven door during some argument. His daughter didn't speak to him for months because of something. His wife is left again, not first time. My husband and her just rubbed each other the wrong way from day one. There have been words on and off for 10 years. If we talk about her father, she gets mad. That Sunday, he and his wife made plans with us. Her father had plans to be out of town. She went to see him. Okay, plans change. He said that they were planning to come later. It's already 4 p.m. and stay until 11 or 12. We don't stay up that late. No calls, just didn't show. I read all the texts from spouse, son, and daughter-in-law. Spouse was mad, but never got ugly. She did. She wasn't even involved in the conversation. She involved herself when our son got mad at us getting mad. She started rapid-fire texting from her phone. Our son now says that they won't talk to us anymore unless my husband apologizes to her and her father for past comments, and he needs to learn how to control his temper like he himself is learning to control his own. I and our youngest son have always been peacekeepers. On this, I said no apology. At it again, we never blamed her as the cause of everything. Our son said the reason they didn't come when they were supposed to was because his wife took the only vehicle to see her dad, because his plans changed that day and he was now going to be in town. Though our plans had been made for days. We got truly mad at her when she started texting nasty comments because we upset our son. The exact plans as said by our son: we won't be back home until Sunday morning, we have to drop off the babysitter and get the kids loaded and we'll head that way. We said we would put food on the grill that morning, so it would be ready by 2. So no exact time was set except for the time the food would be ready. The only thing that gives me slight pause is them saying, okay, we're gonna toss food on the grill and have it ready by 2 o'clock, but they didn't actually confirm that this was a set thing. That said, considering what the son said and the entire circumstances, I don't think OP's the jerk here, and especially I don't understand why they have to apologize for the daughter-in-law when they sent all those nasty messages. Ben Slayer wrote, "Not the jerk. Have one of his siblings send a letter directly to the antagonistic son, stating exactly what has gone on over the years. Share how disappointed you, your husband, and his siblings are that he acquiesced to his wife's family's demands again, despite it meaning that your son would miss set plans, a promise, with his family. That he has shown no real care for his father or how he treats the family, since he could not be respectful enough to let you know, nor even have enough empathy to care how worrying surgery is for his father. State that it's for him and his wife to apologize to your family, stating clearly the reasons. Include everything his wife and her family has done to be manipulative, as well as what your son has done to go along with this. Lay it out clearly, succinctly, and with examples for each point. Make it difficult for him to not acknowledge what you are saying. If he still demands an apology or does not apologize, then you know that unfortunately he is past you being able to get through to him. Good luck, OP. Our next story is, am I the jerk for choosing not to wear a bracelet my stepmother and stepsisters wore to their weddings? I, 24-year-old female, am getting married this winter. My stepmother wanted me to wear a bracelet that was handed down from her grandmother that she and my stepsisters all wore at their weddings, and that my half-sisters will likely wear at theirs at my wedding and have it be something borrowed. I told her it was a really sweet offer, but I already had my something old, new, borrowed, and blue taken care of. She was upset that I didn't have her help with any of that. She asked me what would represent her half of my family on my wedding day. I told her that they didn't really need representing and that my step and half siblings will be there, as well as her. She told me I'm not including her whole family like I'm including my paternal and maternal sides, and that she already knows I'm wearing some stuff of my mom's and some stuff from maternal family members. She said she wanted to see me honor both moms during the wedding. I still chose not to wear it. She's upset because she married my dad when I was 9, after my mom died, and wanted me to embrace her and her family, her kids and extended family, as equally family to me as my mom and dad and maternal and paternal families. She knows I don't, but I know she wants me to take the symbol anyway. She argued a bit, then she told my dad and he told me it would be extra sweet and meaningful to make my stepmother happy and show love and acceptance for my third parent and third side of my family. Am I the jerk? I think if OP doesn't want to, OP doesn't want to, and that's completely okay at their wedding. Comfortable C2454 wrote, "Not the jerk. Your wedding, your choice. You had one mom that you remember and honor. Your stepmom can't expect you to just ignore your mom or mom's family and memories and wear jewelry that means nothing to you." This next story is, am I the jerk for kicking out my friend and his girlfriend during our wedding? Hey everyone, I, 29-year-old male, just got married to my amazing wife, 29-year-old female, 2 days ago. We've been planning our wedding for years and it was supposed to be the perfect day. I had only one request from my friends: please do not propose to your girlfriends at our wedding. I suspected one of my friends might try this because he'd been talking about proposing, not directly to me but to another friend. I specifically asked him not to do it. The wedding night was magical. I had prepared a special song to sing to my wife, a little piece that meant the world to us. As the music was coming to an end, my friend suddenly emerged from the crowd with his girlfriend and proposed to her right then and there. I felt so betrayed. The crowd was cheering and clapping for them, completely overshadowing our moment. My wife didn't seem to mind too much, but I was devastated. Shortly after, I pulled them aside and asked them to leave the party and told them they couldn't attend the after party. They refused, so I had to ask security to escort them out. Now, half of my friends are on my side, while the other half think I'm overreacting and that it wasn't a big deal. Even my parents said that I was being too harsh. I'm seriously considering ending the friendship over this. So, am I the jerk for kicking them out? Am I overreacting? The thing is here, OP said specifically in advance, do not do this. I do not want you to do this at my wedding. So to go and do it at OP's wedding is just the biggest slap in the face to somebody that you're supposedly friends with. I think OP is clearly not the jerk. Kuroko Menu wrote, not the jerk. You had specifically told him not to do it. This wasn't him doing it spontaneously, which would be rude enough. It's premeditated, deliberate disrespect. It's not just the act itself, it's that while knowing full well that you would hate it, and it would negatively impact your wedding even if just by your emotional reaction to him deliberately betraying you, completely predictable, he stole time and attention at your once-in-a-lifetime event to bring the spotlight to him. So he didn't have to spend time and money on gathering an audience and creating a wonderful atmosphere for his proposal. Utterly selfish. This isn't about other people. It wasn't a betrayal of them. To them, it's a little thing because they don't care if they clap for you and your wife or your friend's proposal. They aren't paying for it. It's not their event, so their opinion doesn't matter. Their perspective isn't yours. This was him betraying you for completely selfish reasons. I wouldn't keep a friendship with someone like that. You don't have to keep a snake in the grass close to you. I would tell people that your one request was that your friends not do this and you had told him specifically. He chose to betray you and propose at an emotional part of your wedding, stealing the spotlight for his proposal. And let's be frank about why he did it. He didn't want to pay and organize a similar gathering of people with that kind of atmosphere for his proposal. He betrayed you and made your song for your wife the lead up to his proposal, as if you were a performer at his event setting the mood for him. It was exactly the kind of bullcrap you wanted to head off with your request for no wedding proposals, and he knew it. If this is a small thing, why didn't he organize something similar for his proposal himself separately? Because it costs a freak ton of money and takes a lot of thought and organization. Much easier to steal the spotlight right after you professed your love for your wife at your wedding. It wasn't his moment. He knew it. You consider what he did to be a betrayal and not something small at all. Our next story is, am I the jerk for telling my husband taking the kids for the day isn't help? I'm a stay-at-home mom of 2 young kids. My husband works, sometimes long hours, so I'm usually in charge of the day-to-day routines, schedules, activities, cooking meals, etc. It works out for us. He's taking this week off and decided he would take the kids for today, all day. He told me I deserve a day to relax, as this week is our vacay for the summer. I ran some errands, and while out, I spoke with my husband briefly about dinner. He asked if I would be home for dinner, to which I replied yes. When I got home, his first question was, "What are we doing for dinner?" And I told him I assumed that he would already figured that out, seeing as it's getting close to bedtime for the kids. He said there was no food in the house and would go out to the store to grab groceries. At this point, it's getting late, so I told him to just order food. He did, begrudgingly, and asked why I was so irritated and why I couldn't just do it. He said he helped all day with the kids. When I told him it's not help, he's their dad and it's part of his job, he lost it and told me I'm being a butt. Am I wrong for saying that? Am I the jerk? OP's definitely not the jerk here. He did what? Babysit the kids? Congrats, Dad, you babysat your own kids for a day. You really went above and beyond on that one. It's actually something that I've seen other people get upset over. Like even single fathers bringing their kids to the park and somebody coming up saying, "Oh, is Dad babysitting the kids for today?" No, actually I just take care of my kids regularly. Kiwi Honey wrote, not the jerk. This idea that dads watching the kids equates to babysitting or helping out mom instead of dads simply doing their jobs as fathers has got to go. You are absolutely 100% correct here. Time to have a serious sit-down with your husband to talk about parental responsibilities and equity in the parental load. Yes, you are a stay-at-home mom, but you're working all day just like he is. He should stay home with the kids alone all day for 5 days in a row while you go out of the house during his normal office hours. Give him a list of everything that you do during the weekdays, kid stuff of course, but also cleaning, shopping, scheduling, activities, cooking dinner, etc. At the end of those 5 days, sit down together and discuss what his days were like. I guarantee that he will understand that you are truly working, and he won't be so glib with his whole helping with the kids routine. He needs to get some perspective, compassion, and empathy. Louis V25 wrote, "Yep, it's why 80% of divorces are filed by women. The workload is heavy enough without the gaslighting, deflection, anger, and silent treatment. Women just get exhausted and emotionally check out. When she's done, men are shocked. It's sad, really." Our next story is, am I the jerk for banning my roommate's girlfriend for touching my raw cookie dough? I rent a room to a lad called AJ. He's 31. He's dating Nina, 25-year-old female. I don't mind if AJ has people over or anything, but Nina has been here a lot. I am already annoyed because Nina always asks to borrow stuff from me. Can I borrow a pair of pants for work? I forgot mine. Do you have extra face masks, or can I borrow lotion, tampons, or socks? I've always told her no, I don't make a lot and I don't loan things. She was furious I wouldn't give her a pad, but I use a diva cup and period underwear and I am not sharing those. She got mad I wouldn't loan her a dress for their surprise date night. I told her if she asks again for anything of mine, then she's not allowed back in the apartment. I told her to stop acting like we were friends and don't use my stuff. Short of like medical things, band-aids, she should go buy her own stuff. This led to AJ being mad at me for making her feel unwelcome. I said I don't want her around at all, and the next time it happens, I'm gonna ban her. He said she's not that bad. I ended up letting him know one more step over the line and she's gone. And if he breaks that ban, he can find a new place as he's month to month. Nina ended up being fine for a few days. I was making cookies from scratch. They come in from some date. She sees the cookies and asks the kind. I tell her chocolate chip, and she comes over, sticks her finger in the dough, and takes a chunk. I got so mad I told her to get out. She's banned. I didn't care. When AJ tried to argue with me, I said I am not renewing his lease if she's not gone in 2 minutes. They left, and I'm now being called a jerk by friends. Am I the jerk? In my eyes, OP's not the jerk. Somebody in your living space that isn't paying rent but comes over all the time and is mighty annoying and a huge leech and then goes and sticks their finger in your cookie dough. I think it would be shocking if you didn't kick them out or ban them or whatever. Falling into polka dots wrote, Nina needs to learn how to pack better. If she knows she's going to be over when she has work the next day, make sure you bring something you can wear to work. If you know that your period is coming, pack the items you need. In that regard, better yet, always carry some in your bag since periods aren't usually considerate. If she's been told that you don't like her touching anything of yours, then she should have been able to restrain herself from sticking her fingers in your dough. While it seems like a lot to ban her for that alone, it's not just because of that, it's because of all of the inconvenience and lack of consideration she brings into your life. Our next story is, am I the jerk for leaving the dry wedding early to go out? So 2 weeks ago, I, 35-year-old female, went to a wedding in our college town for a member of our college friend group. My husband and I left the kids with my parents and we went. We got a verbo with another couple I went to college with for a few days. My husband and I don't have a ton of time to ourselves away from the kids, so we were excited to let loose. On the invitation, it said the wedding went to 11 with an after party with the bride and groom at the venue. The venue was a gorgeous mansion and the bride and groom had it for the night. They were leaving for the honeymoon the next morning. Cut to wedding day, and it's a dry wedding. Apparently the groom is 2 years sober. No one told us this and we were admittedly bummed. When we found out there was no alcohol, we told people that we were going to some bars after and not going to the after party. We left the wedding at 9:30 because we were itching to go out and the wedding was boring. Pretty much the whole college crew left around that time and went out. Apparently, the bride's friend group did not stay for the party, the groom's did, and the optics were very lopsided at the party. We all heard from the bride about this and she called us jerks for leaving. She said that she didn't feel supported and felt like we were spiting her now husband for his sobriety. I told her that she was reading too much into it. We just wanted to go out. She is especially mad at me as I'm looked at as the ringleader of this outing. I don't think I've done anything wrong. Am I the jerk? OP's definitely the jerk here. Listen, I get it. Showing up to the wedding and finding out only then that it's a dry wedding is disappointing for a lot of people. And also, I get it. You can't enjoy any event or night out unless you're drinking alcohol, lest it be boring. But especially the issue here is OP arriving, finding out it's a dry wedding, and immediately going around and telling people, hey, I'm gonna go out after this and also not go to the after party, and kind of imprinted in other people's minds that this is kind of a thing that's going on now. Starby Barbie 99 wrote, you're the jerk. You are going to get a lot of, if you can't have fun without alcohol, then you have a serious addiction problem and you suck crowd, but I don't agree with that sentiment at all, and I think it misses the point entirely, so I want to be clear that's not why I'm voting you're the jerk. I do think that couples should disclose that ahead of time so that people can plan for it, since alcohol at weddings is the norm, but you're a jerk for this. We told people we were going to some bars after and not going to the after party. We left the wedding at 9:30. You were talking crap at her wedding, and then you formed a whole group to leave her party early. That's a bad friend. Skipping her dry after party to go out after would be totally fine. Expected even. But to leave the wedding early and bringing a group with you? Yeah, you suck super hard. She is trying to support her now husband, and she'll be supporting him like that during the whole marriage, and you couldn't even support your friend for an hour and a half more? Life isn't about only ever doing what you want to do. You are running on a greedy algorithm, only choosing what makes you happy in the moment. Others be danged, and that's not what makes a good person. Sometimes we have to sit through long ceremonies for our siblings. Sometimes we have to go to boring art shows for our friends. Sometimes we have to participate in boring parties to celebrate the people we love. Get over it. Our next story is, am I the jerk for telling my landlords I don't want to maintain their pool? My landlords recently moved out and are planning on renting out their apartment in the future. They didn't even tell me until the day of that they were moving out. They then messaged me saying that they wanted to come back and have a discussion about pool management. I told them I didn't want to be responsible for managing it because I'm paranoid that something could happen and then I would be held responsible for their pool, and I don't have the funds to even fix it if something were to happen. I'm also not home every day and I just don't want to take on that responsibility. They got upset saying all I would have to do is flip a switch on and off every day and then put chlorine in once a week. I also don't even know where they go to buy the chlorine, and I'm already struggling to keep up with my bills. I don't want to add extra gas money to go get chlorine and then have to send them a receipt and wait to get reimbursed for the chlorine and gas. This really feels like a full-time job that I didn't ask for, nor is it part of my lease. Am I the jerk for not wanting to take care of their pool after they moved out? So I personally think OP is 1,000,000% not the jerk. If I were in their shoes, I would love the access to the pool, but I definitely would not want to have to take care of it, especially if that was never part of the lease that you agreed upon. Sadly, I feel like for OP, this might be a living situation that doesn't work out for a longer period of time. Ditto Head Forever wrote, you're not the jerk. They got upset saying all I would have to do is flip a switch on and off every day and then put in chlorine once a week. Bull, there's a lot more to maintaining a pool than that. They need to pay a professional to come by and maintain the pool. It's their responsibility, not yours. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. Now, if you want to hear another absolutely crazy Am I the Jerk Here story, check out that video on the left. Or if you missed my latest video, check out that video on the right. That said, I'll see you all next time with some more stories.